I am a longtime iPhone user who has been trying out my first Android, the Galaxy S10. Here are my thoughts after over 2 weeks of use. Hello tech friends, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Craig. If you're into smart devices, Apple products, and cool tech like this, you are in the right place. Links to anything I talk about will be in the description. Let's get started. This is not a comprehensive review. This is a check-in video on my thoughts after 2 weeks. I want to share my experience as someone using my first Samsung and Android phone for others who may be thinking about making the switch or considering a Galaxy S10. I am only going to touch on a couple of Android specific features in this video. This will be more about the phone itself. I'll cover my thoughts on Android features in another video. For other iPhone users like myself, I will say you have to definitely embrace Google to get the most out of Android. Personally, I'm putting aside any stubbornness and diving deeper into Google services to learn as much as possible. I still do miss some of the iOS features that I mentioned in my previous video. There's a link to that video in the description if you want to check it out. I have found workarounds for a lot of them. I will say cloud services are your friend if you're using Apple products along with Android or PC devices. Before talking about the phone, this is for anyone concerned about switching to an Android phone. There are lots of difference between Android and iOS, but the apps are the things that make the switch easier. Almost everything I do is app-based. Over 90% of those apps act the same way on the Android phone, so it's really not that huge of a deal. Last thing, I had 2 weeks to return this phone. Wednesday of last week was my last chance to return it to Best Buy. I was thinking I might just go back to my iPhone, but I'm having fun learning about Android. I know there are some who thought I just used this phone for a bit to make videos and in the end say, iPhones are better, and then get rid of it. I'm keeping the S10. I plan on using both iOS and Android phones moving forward. I think both OSs offer things that the other may not. Now, on to what I like. The first thing I really like is the form factor and build of this phone. It is a great looking phone. I think the Prism White is super cool. The shape of the phone is nice. Even with the bigger display, it doesn't feel any different or larger than my iPhone. The minimal bezels definitely help this out a lot. I will admit the iPhone is looking a little dated next to the S10 with the big notch. Hopefully Apple will change that. I really like using this phone without a case, although I end up putting one back on because of all the glass. Next, the display is awesome. This phone feels like it's all display. The Quad HD Plus AMOLED display is beautiful. It offers such vivid colors and deep black. Samsung does make the best screens. I think the hole punch is a cool look. It is better than a notch, and it isn't a mechanical pop-out camera. I also like the curved edges of the screen. It just has a really sleek, unique feel to it. As for the cameras, I am a fan of the wide-angle lens. The regular camera and zoom camera are about the same as my iPhone. I didn't feel much improvement using those, but the wide-angle lens is great for pictures. The front-facing camera, I like that a lot too. I think they did a great job with that. The stabilized video out of this is great. I only have an iPhone 10, so I couldn't tell you about the improvements in the XS, but I've been really happy with the cameras so far out of this. Battery life has been great. I easily make it through a whole day. I get about 5.5 hours of screen time and still not have to charge the phone. I still have about 25% left. This is my first Samsung phone, so I don't have previous versions of Samsung to compare it to, but I'm finding One UI to work pretty well for me. I don't find it annoying in any way. I have checked out some other launchers such as Nova Launcher, but I want to keep One UI for the first month so I really see how Samsung wanted this phone to be. I have found that the fingerprint sensor is working well for me now, especially since the update. I do think as a new technology there could be better instructions. I have heard from many people in the comments saying just lightly tap the sensor, but that will only work if you record the fingerprints with the minimal amount of pressure possible. When setting it up, you will see pop-ups saying, press harder, cover the sensor all the way, leave your finger on longer. The graphic of how to put your thumb on is bad, but it should also say if you're pressing too hard. When you record a fingerprint with a harder press, I think it makes it less accurate, like you're smashing the lines in your thumbprint. I don't know. I think the fingerprint becomes inconsistent when you press down harder. I also think that the pre-installed screen protector does not help things either. Since saving my fingerprints with the least amount of pressure possible, accuracy has greatly improved and I can just basically tap the screen and it'll open up nicely. On the software side, I do like the Edge bar a lot. I think it's great for getting to regularly used apps without having to jump out to the home screen first. Next, these are not Samsung specific features, but rather Android features I like. I do enjoy being able to watch video while doing other things. The specific notifications across the top are great. I'm also enjoying true multitasking and being able to do split screen. There's some great features in Android, I'll admit it as an iPhone user. Here are some things that do not really impress me or I'm not a fan of. First would be this pre-installed screen protector. I left it on until I knew I was going to keep the phone. This thing is absolutely horrible with polarized sunglasses. It made the screen almost unusable outside with my sunglasses on. I thought it was a flaw with the S10 screen until I looked it up. Since taking it off, the screen has been perfect outside with sunglasses. I also do not think this screen protector helps with the fingerprint sensor at all. Since removing it, I feel like it's been a lot more accurate. Next, I do not like Bixby. I'm thinking Bixby and Siri are fighting it out to see who can be worse. I do appreciate that I can reprogram the Bixby button to launch another app, especially since I've hit the Bixby button multiple times when trying to turn the volume down. I have also found that the curved display with no case sometimes leads to my palm touching the screen and triggering other things, such as jumping to the next video if I'm watching YouTube or other accidental touches. Having a case on definitely helps with less of those inadvertent touches on the side of the screen. Power share does nothing for me at this time. I do not own any wireless charging earbuds and I've not used it for charging my other phone. It is cool that it's there and may come in handy sometime, but it would not be something that would make me run out to go buy this phone. Now, although I have the fingerprint sensor dialed in, I could see it as a possible point of frustration for some. If it is for you, just do some research on it. There are some great videos. One great video is from Mark's Tech channel. Mark there has a great technique for recording fingerprints that has worked really well for me. Another thing I'm not a big fan of is the adaptive brightness. Adaptive brightness is supposed to adjust the level of the screen based on surrounding lighting conditions. I do find that sometimes it's not bright enough for the amount of light around, such as being outside. Yet leaving it off at times is too bright for a dark room. I usually leave it on, but under certain lighting conditions, I have to go and raise it manually. None of these are huge issues by any means. Overall, I do think this is a great phone and I have no deal breaker complaints. I am glad that I bought it and I'm learning about it. I know I still have much to learn being new to Android and Galaxy phones. I will follow up with more thoughts after using it for a month. I do want to say thank you for joining me as I check out and learn about the Samsung and Android world. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell for future videos. If you'd like to help support the channel, I have my Patreon link in the description. There are Amazon affiliate links in the description too. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye.